There we go. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Chair Ebright,
Here.
Commissioner Devereaux,
Here.
Commissioner Ramos,
Here.
Commissioner Travis,
Here.
Commissioner Lalana, not here, Commissioner Monzon, not here, and Commissioner Troy emailed me and said he wouldn't make it here tonight. So we have everybody here.
Okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of us here. No alternates involved, so we won't be seating anyone. Approval of the agenda for February 3rd. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda for February 3rd today?
Motion to approve the agenda for February.
Second.
Who was the
All in
second,
favor?
please?
Bill. William.
Thank you. I'm sorry, Chair.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of minutes of December 2nd, our last meeting, and a motion to approve.
Motion to approve meeting minutes.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Public forum. Is there anyone joining us today that would like to speak to us? Okay,
Yes, there is somebody. Let me see if we can bring them in. Pam, can you let the person into the meeting, please? Is Mr. Urvish Kumar?
Yes,
Okay, you have 3 minutes, sir.
thank you. Good evening to all the veterans and all the Chair Ebright, Vice Chair, as well as all the commissioner. I wanted to mention about that whether it's in the United States armed services, whether it be a Navy, Army, Air Force, or Space Force, all the armed force services sees all the uniformed men and women as equal. It is an equal right between men and women, with no race, no religion, no ethnicity. Everybody is equal. It is important that the men and women be respected in all circumstances and all manners. The city of Milpitas has the city of Milpitas, becoming a metro city, and it can offer a lot more to the people who are in the uniformed services. The uniformed services requires a lot more implementation and improvements to be made. For the seniors, for the uniformed services seniors, there is a need of a Fisher House. For the uniformed services at the city level, that requires a collaboration with the County Veterans Commission. The Veterans Commission also requires a collaboration at the state level with the Military Council of California. And the Milpitas city, as you know, Milpitas city is becoming a metro city. It requires a more and more involvement at the county level as well as state level to understand that what are the different services that are available for the uniform services within the city of Milpitas and what could be availed. For example, it requires an officers club like the Marine Club, which is in a city of San Francisco. It requires a collaboration with the San Francisco Fleet Week as well. It requires the people and as well as the people in the uniformed services to understand that what it takes to protect the city, what it takes to protect the county, what it takes to protect the state, and what it takes to protect the country. The Pledge of Allegiance itself has a lot many things to offer for the men and women in the uniformed services. At all the times, the people in the uniformed services are required to be maintained with the military police force, as well as the discipline that is required to be implemented for all those men within the uniformed services. Those standards are required to be implemented at the law enforcement agency within the city of Milpitas as well. I request all the commissioner, as well as all the veterans, to consider the improvements and the implementation to make the city of Milpitas the metro city, the Milpitas Metro, as it gets more evolving with more different aspect with the people in the uniformed services. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your input.
That is
Is
the
there anyone
only
else, Dale?
person we had there. No, that was it.
Announcements or correspondence? Anybody have anything?
I don't at this time.
Okay, I have a couple of items here. One involves our fellow commissioner Liliana. I think she volunteered suicide task force. Is that right, Liliana?
I haven't done that yet, but that's my plan. Yes.
Okay. We were briefed on that at our meeting on October the 7th, I think it was, and
Right.
we were exposed to the program, and Liliana has since volunteered for that. And we thank you for that. Also, the other item, I've been considering this for some time, and I'm looking at probably retiring from the Veterans Commission on my 80th birthday. And that occurs on July of this year. So I'm still here in July, but I'm looking at, I turn 80 in July. So I thought I'd give everyone a heads up for that one. I've been here since the inception of the commission, which has been about 11 years, I think, or a little more. And I don't know, I figured it was my time to go. So, okay. And with that, let's go on to the first thing of business here, election of officers. Are we going to do that with Bruce gone?
Chair, I'm sorry, Chair, after we close the public forum, somebody raised their hand. Do you still want to accept the public forum for the person that raised his hand after we closed it?
What do we need to do with that?
Well, it's up to you guys if you guys want to let the public forum person come back in and talk. He did it after we closed it. With the delay in the system, it could have been missed. So
It's okay by me. What do we need to take a vote on it?
let me check. Hold on.
No, we could just take it. Yeah, we can just
Yeah,
take
you
it.
could just take it.
It's okay by me. That's Bill.
Okay, so we have a Kevin Lee joining us for public forum.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, Mr. Lee. You have three minutes.
Okay, thanks. Hi, everyone. My name is Kevin. I, along with Commissioner Nair, we're newly appointed commissioners on the Science, Technology, and Innovation Commission. I'm not sure if she's here with me, but I reached out to Dale not too long ago about a project that we're currently working on. It's part of our 2021 work plan called the Digital Inclusion Strategy, where we are looking forward to ensuring greater digital access or internet access and better literacy, digital literacy across the Milpitas community. So currently we're in the early stages of this project. We're trying to gather as much data and information as we can about the community, about our targeted demographic. That includes students, seniors, homeless people, and others, or maybe low-income people who might not have reliable access to the internet. We want to learn more about where these people are located, how many people of them are there, and which locations around the city could most benefit from having free Wi-Fi access for these groups of people. So I just wanted to bring it to your attention if you were to want to bring this to become an agendas item. Whether or not you know any information about, this demographics of people and how many people are there, and I guess any knowledge if you know of a large groups of people who could use better digital literacy, education, and access to the internet as well. And yeah, I just wanted to bring to your attention about this project. If you know anything that could be of use to us, we would be more than happy to work with your commission. I and Commissioner Nair are both co-owners of this project. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your input. Okay, continuing on with our next item of business here, election of officers for 2021. Do we have enough people here to do that, Dale?
Yes, we have a quorum.
Okay. Nominations are open for the next chairman of the commission. Anybody want to nominate anyone for chairman?
I'm guessing we can't nominate you because you're retiring in July, or can we still?
Well, if I did get elected chairman again, yeah, I'd probably have to have another election in several more months. And Bruce isn't here. I would like to nominate Liliana for the next chairman of the commission. Any seconds? Any more nominations?
Do we have a
Hello, is
second?
there anyone out there?
Second,
Okay. Any more nominations for chairman?
Can we nominate Bruce Choi, or could we? Or
They need to be present.
they need to be present? Okay.
Yeah, that's the difficulty of all this.
Yeah.
Okay. Gonna close nominations. Okay, we have one person that's been nominated for chair.
I'll do
That's-
a vocal vote, Mayor, Chair.
We need individual votes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chair Ebright.
Aye.
Okay. Chair Commissioner Travis.
Aye.
Commissioner Devereaux.
aye.
Commissioner Ramos.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, since there were no other nominations and it was unanimous on the ayes, congratulations, Liliana Ramos. You're the new chairman of the commission.
Thank you. Aye.
And with that, I turn the meeting over to you.
Oh,
Just before I do that, we need to get a vice chair too. Is that true, Dale?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'd like to nominate William Devereaux for vice chair.
I second.
Any other nominations? Do we need a second on that, Dale?
We would close it and take a vote.
Okay. Well, let's close the nomination since there are no more. Time for a vote. You want to call the roll?
Commissioner Ebright.
Aye.
Commissioner Devereaux.
Aye.
Commissioner Travis.
Aye.
And Chair Ramos.
Aye.
Thank you.
And with that, I will turn the rest of the meeting over to our new chairman, Liliana Ramos. Congratulations, Liliana.
Thank you. I'm going to need a lot of help in
We're here for
getting
you.
the, thank you. So I guess the next, now that we've gotten the elections, the next part is the received presentation of the Parks and Recreation Master Plan update.
Yes.
Okay. Just read the background.
Read the background and then the presenters will come on and give their portion of it.
Okay, thank you. The City Parks and Recreation Master Plan update is in the approved City 2020-2025 Capital Improvement Program. This project provides an update to the existing 2008 Parks and Recreation Master Plan document to include metro-specific planned parks, midtown parks, and city recreational facilities. The update will focus on the connectivity within the park, as well as the between the parks and recreation facilities, including trails. It also includes an assessment of recreation and community services, programs, and fees. The recommendation is receive an interim update on Parks and Recreation Master Plan.
Right. Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Thank you so much, Dell, for helping to set this up. My name is Liha Iem, an Associate Civil Engineer with Engineering Department, and I am also the Project Manager for the Park and Recreation Master Plan update. We also have our consultant, Gate and Associate, joining us today, and our consultant will be providing the presentations on the progress of the master plan, and particularly of what we have completed so far and what is our next steps. With that being said, I'm going to turn this over to Linda Gate. She's the Principal Project Manager with Gate and Associates, so that she can begin her presentations. Thank you.
Thank you, Liak. Hi, thank you guys for letting me join your meeting this evening. I appreciate it. The Gates and Associates Landscape Architect was retained by the city to update their Park and Recreation Master Plan. And our mission, our firm's mission, is to get people outside. So you can imagine that working on this project is sort of our happy place right now. So I'm here to share with you what we've been doing. So Recreation Master Plan is like, first of all, we look at the existing facilities, what you have, your existing programs, your existing parks and facilities. A little bit unique to the Milpitas Park and Recreation Master Plan is we've also been looking at your fee structure for your programs and exploring opportunities to do cost recovery targets, looking at what other cities and such are doing. So that's a little bit of a different tweak than a lot of cities do, but you guys offer a lot of programs. A Park and Recreation Master Plan needs to be a reflection of a community's values. So we engage the community to sort of find out what is the right shape of the Park and Rec Master Plan for Milpitas, because ultimately we're creating a roadmap that will be implemented over the next 10 years. So that's just sort of, that's what a Park and Recreation Master Plan is. Next slide. One of the great things about doing the Park and Recreation Master Plan right now is you're also updating your general plan. And so those two documents can be in alignment, which doesn't always happen in communities. A couple of key guiding principles that have been coming out of the general plan that I think are really key to the Park and Rec Master Plans is we want to provide a park and recreation system that serves the needs of all the residents of Milpitas. So different age groups, different ethnicities, whether you're a new resident or you've been living there for a long time, whether you're maybe have some development challenges, we want to make sure it serves all residents. The second part of it is that we need to do this in collaboration with the county and the school district. We're not growing any more land in Milpitas, so often we have to meet some of our recreation needs in partnerships with the school district and the county. So those are two policies in the general plan that are permeating the Park and Recreation Master Plan. Next slide. In addition, which is even more unique, at the same time we're updating the general plan and the Park and Recreation Master Plan, we're also updating the Milpitas Metro Specific Plan, which is setting the development. You'll be adding about 20,000 new people to Milpitas over the course of this master plan. So for planning for those needs, a lot of which will be accommodated in the Metro Specific Plan. You have the Bikeway and Pedestrian Master Plan, which I believe you're going to have a presentation on later tonight. And one of the things that's really important in a park system is the connectivity to the parks, people being able to access the park. I mean, it seems very basic, but if you can get there, you will use it. So creating a better bike and pedestrian system to get to the parks is very key. And then finally, we are updating your 2008 Park and Rec Master Plan. Next slide. So that slide created a vision, and under that vision, the city has invested more than $26 million in parks improvements, which include some updates to the Milpitas Sports Center, new skate park, redesigning a number of neighborhood parks, playground upgrades. So that laid out the blueprint. There was an investment, and that's what we're doing now is we're creating the next blueprint, and then we'll lead to the next investment. Next slide. So as I mentioned, some of the things that we've been doing, one is we went out and visited the 36 parks in Milpitas and 6 of the facilities and kind of evaluated the condition of them. You know, what kind of amenities they have, where in their life cycle are those amenities. So we have an understanding of what you have. We also looked at your demographics. As I mentioned before, you are expected to grow during this period. You're also, since the last master plan, your population has, you know, there's become even more diverse ethnically. You're continuing to age, but you also have this influx of new people moving into sort of higher density development, and they're looking to their park system to maybe meet some of the recreation functions that used to be accomplished in backyards, you know, sort of birthday parties in the parks or getting together with friends in the parks and such, barbecues and things. So those are changes that we have to adapt this master plan to from the last one that was done in 2008. As we do this, one of the tools we use is we go out and look at other communities and we see, well, how many acres of parks do they have? How many soccer fields per 1,000 people? How many tennis courts? Not because we want to match them, but to understand where Milpitas stands and sort of, once again, it's one of the tools we use to sort of tweak and make the right fit for Milpitas. Next slide. So we have conducted 2 rounds of community engagement. The first one, we were fortunate, you know, in December and January, we're actually able to have some in-person outreach. In round 1, we actually find out what people like about the existing park system and what they feel is lacking and need. We also conducted an online survey during the first round. In the second round, we took the information we got in the online survey and we dive a little bit deeper. We heard some things and we went out to have some focus groups on specific topics, town halls, and an online survey to explore certain topics that had come up to understand how we could meet some of those needs. Next slide. So in the first round, we had over 700 participants. We were able to reach out in English, Spanish, Chinese, and Vietnamese. As you might expect, there were a number of things people liked about the park system, the playground, the swim facilities, the paths and trails. But things they wanted to add were more updated playgrounds, more community events. People really like to have programs and things happening in their parks. Indoor exercise, exercise stations, lighting, dedicated teen space. So these are some of the things people wanted to see happening in the park system. Next slide. And in the second round then, as I said, we dove deeper into some of those issues. So we had focus groups with teens, with new residents, with some of the sports groups to explore those issues. We also did an online interactive map survey where people could go to a specific park and make comments on that specific park. So if there's one that you visit all the time or is around the corner from you, you could talk about the specific improvements you wanted to make to that park versus sort of the whole community. And then we held 2 virtual town halls to sort of share that and collect information from the whole community. Next slide. So I think it's interesting, some of the information we got from some of the focus groups. The organized sports groups, you know, which was softball, baseball, basketball, cricket, all those groups sort of coming together and talking about how they could work together to meet the recreation needs. And very collaborative, wanting to see more parking, storage, restrooms. The girls softball has been challenged recently because with the fields that they have been playing on at the school district being relocated. So trying to figure out how we could shift that around. Also the cricket, a rising interest in cricket, how can that be accommodated in this space? So those are some of the things we talked about with the sports group. With new residents, one of the things that we found that was interesting is they really use their park to meet their neighbors. Like they're looking to socialize and learn about their neighbors. So they like the idea of group exercise stations near each other so they could talk, or plan like yoga in the park or something. So they began to meet their neighbors there. They also, as mentioned before, like to be able to have a reservable places in the park so they can reserve it for a family event or such like that. So these are some of the kinds of things that they wanted to see and that we're looking at ways to accommodate that with shelters or maybe permit parking for those reservations. We were really interested in reaching out to teens because often once youth gets sort of beyond playing on the playground equipment, and if they're not actively involved in sports, they sort of aren't using the parks as much. So we were sort of exploring what would bring them and welcome them to the parks. And they mentioned they felt some of the parks were tiring, aging. So they're pretty sensitive to the aesthetics of parks. They wanted to see Wi-Fi. They really wanted to have the parks have a natural feel. They're very connected to sort of that more natural kind of environment. Often they feel they have use conflicts if the paths are too narrow and somebody's walking along a path and they may be skating or something like that. So they wanted to minimize the youth conflicts and have some special uses like outdoor ping pong or game areas or food trucks or things that really were appealing to them. There are also a lot of safety concerns for the parents of teens. So sort of really addressing that. And then the teens also pointed out they primarily use the parks during the summer because during the school year, they're in school and it gets dark so late. So really thinking about more shade, more water play, things in the parks that are attracted to them in the summer. And then finally, you may not be aware of the role that the Parks Department has really always had, but has really stepped up during COVID is sort of their social services, sort of connecting people who need meals or housing with other kinds of groups, making sure that they're creating that inclusive sort of environment. So we met with that group a little bit to try and look at some of the partnerships and things that could happen to enrich that mission of the Parks District. Next slide. And then in the town hall meetings I mentioned before, cricket came up. Once again, inclusivity came up there. And then a lot of talk about programming like class on weeknights and weekends, and the kind of programs I'd like to see, dog training, movies in the parks. And then, as I said, the connectivity, really about being able to get to the park without having to get in a car, bike or walk to the park. These are some of the things we heard at the town hall. Next slide. So we've taken all that community input. We've been working with the school district most recently and sort of looking at sort of how we can share facilities with them to meet some of the unmet recreation needs. Then there's a number of recommendations we've created for each park, and we're working to create prioritization criteria. Like, obviously you have a list that's a mile long. Which ones do you attack first? What ones are the most important? This turns into draft recommendations and draft master plan, which we will in round 3 be sharing of outreach, be sharing with the community to make sure that we got the recommendations right and we got your priorities right. And then there'll be costs associated with each of those recommendations. The city can begin to set their capital budget over the next few years. Next slide. So I'm here tonight to make sure you understand that you can follow this process along. You can participate, you can comment on it. There's a website at the city's website, Milpitas Park Recreation Masterplan.org. I think that Liak usually adds it to the chat room if you want to copy it down too. If you have friends, neighbors, teens, youth, seniors that are interested in commenting on what they'd like to see in the park system, we want to hear from them, because the more closely we can tailor it to your needs, the more likely is that we'll be able to move this forward. And I personally think that getting people outside is going to be a really important part of how we come out of COVID. It's like sort of reconnecting to the environment and with each other and social equity. A good park system stresses so many of those elements. So I'm here to answer any questions. And just as I said, share my genuine enthusiasm for working with your city.
Does anyone have any questions?
Well, this is Ms. Gates. This is Commissioner Ebright. I live near Creighton Park.
Okay.
And Creighton Park was just recently totally renovated, and it would appear they've done an outstanding job on updating that park. I have to admit, I've lived here quite a long time and I've never seen so many kids using the playground now.
I know. We're sort of rediscovering some of this,
They
aren't we?
put
It's
in
a
a
perfect
first-class
time.
playground, yeah. So I would consider that a big success, Creighton Park. So
Well.
I just thought I'd put that in there.
Take a bow, Liak. Yeah, no, it is good. And so you should put a challenge on your list to visit a portion of the 36 parks in the city. You know, like take that challenge for yourself in 2021, you know? See where your dollars are going. It's great.
I just wanted to comment that I think that's one of the things that has kept us in Milpitas is just how much we put into the park system for our families. And that's a wonderful thing that you guys do. Love the presentation. Thank you.
I have a great job, right? Well, thank you for letting me crash your meeting and look forward to you snooping on the website and adding more comments as we go through the process. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So the next one is the Veteran of the Year 2021.
Yes.
The background is each year the Veterans Commission accepts nomination forms for the Veteran of the Year. At past meetings, the Veterans Commission has discussed updating the application, making sure that the SF 180 information has been submitted. Staff has included the updated application and the fillable SF 180 request form. The recommendations, staff is recommending that the Veterans Commission approve the updated information and move forward with having the information go out to the general public to begin the nomination process. So I guess first we look at the form.
Yeah. You guys got it all in your packet, so you should look at it ahead of time.
Right.
Well,
Correct.
comment I have on it is, I think we were supposed to remove the medals and decorations line, and that's still on there because that information is included on the DD 214.
Okay, thank you.
And also, I don't see any reference to the Form SF 180 on the form, which is what you would use to submit to the military if you needed a new DD 214. I don't see any reference to that form on here.
Okay,
So anything else that anyone noticed?
I think that's all that I have. I think our colleague Bruce Choi, it's too bad he's not here, but I think he would go along with those changes. He was pushing for that to get the SF 180 information on there.
Yeah. And I'm guessing he gave you the SF 180 information too, Dale?
yeah, it was also attached to the packet.
Right.
And at SF 180, that can
Nice
be
enough.
found on the internet. It's actually, there are instructions to fill it out, and then the form itself, I think, is 2 pages.
Right. Yeah. Will we be sending, will both these, will the instructions, the form, and the SF 180 be on our website too?
Yes, once they're updated.
Right. Okay.
Yeah,
So-
and you're allowed to get a DD 214 3 times a year, up to 3 times in 1 year. So I don't know how long it takes to get that when you submit it, but that probably should be included on our form so people know how to get that DD 214 if they can't find the one that they should have. Some people misplace them and can't find them.
So true. And just having that on our website too will probably help some of the military spouses when their husbands or wives
Yeah.
pass away, right? So that'll be helpful.
But I was on the internet earlier today, and I was able to download the forms and all that. So it's not
Okay.
difficult.
Okay,
Yeah, we can include all the links and everything that we need. Once we upload this to the webpage, we can put it on the city webpage and on the commission webpage, so people have access to more than one area of it.
okay. So do we take a vote, Dale?
So we can take a vote to have staff make the changes and bring it back to the commission, or you can make take a vote and say staff can update the information and move forward at that point in time. It's up
Okay.
to you guys. If we
Any
bring it
comment?
back, it won't come back until April.
Okay.
I think those changes would probably complete the form. I don't see any other changes to be made.
Yeah, I agree. So we'll go ahead. Do we have a motion to allow staff to make the changes and then move forward with the form?
I'll make a motion to support that.
Do we
I'll
have a
second it.
Perfect. Okay. What's the wording? Now we have ayes or nays, but
Yes, I'll take a verbal vote.
okay,
Chair Ramos,
aye.
Commissioner Travis,
Aye.
Vice Chair Devereaux,
Aye.
Commissioner Ebright.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay. The next thing is receive a presentation on the draft City of Milpitas Trails Pedestrian and Bicycle Master Plan, project number 3448. The background is the Trails Pedestrian and Bicycle Master Plan is in the approved City 2020-2025 Capital Improvement Program. This project provides an update to an existing 1997 Trails Master Plan and a 2009 Bicycle Master Plan document. The plan will focus on updating existing trails, bicycle, and pedestrian routes and make recommendations for facilities, improvements, programs, and policies. The recommendation, receive a presentation on the draft City of Milpitas Trails Pedestrian and Bicycle Master Plan, project number 3448.
Good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay?
If you could speak a little louder, that'd be great, Fanny.
Okay, I'm gonna try to speak a little bit louder, okay? Just let me know if at any time you can't hear me, okay? Good evening. My name is Fanny Yu, and I'm an associate civil engineer with the engineering department. I'm the project manager working on updating the city's trails, pedestrian, and bicycle master plan. That's a mouthful. Thank you for providing me this opportunity to present you an overview of the project and the public draft plan. Next slide, please. Okay. The document will provide a support for future improvements, so they are more likely to be implemented. It also provides a vision and action plan to improve active transportation, such as walking and biking. We really want to show support for connectivity, access to destinations, and we want to also integrate the trails and biking to and from the new BART station that's just opened, as well as other transport options. We also want to improve safety, provide comfort and ease of use for active transportation for everyone. Next slide, please. Here are the main contents of the plan. I would like to highlight a few of these in the presentation. Our process started by exploring the existing infrastructure and programs of the city, and then we did an analysis based on where the gaps are and the needs of the community. We then provided a web map online that offered people to place like lines and dots, and we asked them questions like, where are your points of interest? Where are you trying to go? Are there any routes that pose a challenge to you, or if you think there's an improvement that can be made here? And then we took all that feedback and then did an analysis and provided recommendations for improvements. And then we went back out to the public to try to gauge input on whether these were the right solutions for these type of like problems they were facing, and then how important these specific solutions were to them. And that's how we prioritize our projects. From there, we created a list of priority improvements and discussed potential policies and programs. And then from there, we created the public draft plan, which is now ready for review. Next slide, please. As the city continues to grow and new transportation technologies are introduced, we should really explore how this growth affects our connectivity and our relationship with transportation. Now, the last trails and bicycle master plans were last updated in 1997 and 2009, respectively. I'm sure many of you are aware that a lot has changed since that time, and it's good now that we can update these two documents to reflect what is here now and what we want to see in the future. Previously, we were working on these plans totally separately. There was going to be a trails plan and then a bicycle plan, but we soon realized that, the trails and the bicycles, they really rely on each other. So we decided to combine these into one cohesive plan. Next slide, please. In terms of what's new from the previously adopted plans, something we, have specific considerations for is a pedestrian network, which is something that wasn't included in either of the previous plans. This will provide comprehensive consideration for all active modes of transportation. Now, this plan will also reflect the changing conditions within Milpitas, including population growth, increased employment opportunities, and addition of the BART and potential regional connections with Fremont and San Jose. We did a further analysis of previously proposed trails from the previous Trails Master Plan, and based on changing conditions and updating standards, we created a feasible list of actual improvements that are, near term and more feasible. We also explored the bike scooter share, which has quickly been changing the landscape of readily available transportation throughout the Bay Area. Next slide, please. Through the various public engagement efforts, we learned a few key themes. There's a limited connectivity in today's active transportation network. Many people experience major barriers to travel, such as major roadways like the two freeways, Calaveras Boulevard, Montague Expressway, and Great Mall Parkway. With growing population and increased job opportunities, there's an increasing demand on the transportation system. Now, with the new BART station, many people see this as a new travel opportunity, and people want to know how to get there safely. And there's also desire for improved safety, increased travel options, and improved connections to destinations. Next slide, please. Based on all the feedback we received from the public, we've developed multiple networks for trails and bicycles. Now, this map that you're seeing right here is probably the best overview of the two networks working together. The recommendations shown were based on the key themes that I just spoke about, and we try to keep in mind the following. We're trying to keep things low stress, connected network. How can we help people of all ages and abilities get to where they want to go? We also want to maximize use of existing right-of-way and identify near-term opportunities. Now, these types of projects are easier to deliver as opposed to projects that require major reconfigurations of roadways. And then we also have the regional perspective. How do we connect to San Jose and Fremont? We also want to enhance multimodal travel opportunities, including connection to all types of transit. Next slide, please. Now in the plan, we kind of identify spot improvements as well. So as opposed to just, we were looking for a buffered bike lane along a route, we're also looking at, intersection improvements. Now, most of these, improvements are to trails or intersections, and there's a multitude of improvements you can employ. So as you can see on the screen, you can have intersection improvements such as signal timing, upgrade of curb ramps, high visibility crosswalks, green bicycle boxes, trailheads, trail amenities, to name a few. And these improvements should be assessed based on a location base and also the community needs of that location, and we'll need further design in the future. Next slide, please. As mentioned earlier, bike and scooter share are still fairly new to the city of Milpitas. Bike and scooter share, these types of travel and are becoming more popular in metropolitans like San Francisco and New York. And I'm sure that you've been noticing they are quickly found their way throughout the entire Bay Area. Now, in order to prepare Milpitas for these new technologies, we need to prepare a few guidelines that will guide future policies in place for bike and scooter share. The plan offers an opportunity to explore a pilot program, and we've identified a few locations that would be a great start for the pilot. And what we recommend is, we want to start with fewer locations for the first year in order to work out any kinks of the policy, and then recommend to reassess after 1 year and expand the program at that time. Next slide, please. Now, the public draft is currently live and available for review and comments. I'll actually paste the web link in the chat after we're done. And we're going to blast this web link as much as possible. We're going to post it on the web, social media posts, pretty much anywhere I can get the link to be posted. And I hope that you'll all share it with your friends and family, anyone in Milpitas really. We'll also have a virtual open house, which will be more of a condensed version of the plan. Right now, if you go to the plan, it's like a 200-page document. And what we're trying to do is condense all the information so it's readily, easier for everyone to digest all the information. It should be live in about a week or two. You just check back to this website and it'll tell you the date for that virtual open house. And then you'll also be able to submit questions. We want to answer surveys and polls, and we'll do our best to answer all your questions at the meeting. And then if all goes according to plan, the plan should be ready for adoption in early June of this year. And that concludes my presentation. I'm ready to take any questions or comments, concerns.
Any questions from anyone or comments? Well, I wanted to thank you. I personally like walking, and I know a lot of people like biking in the city. So this is great that you're expanding it and really working with the community.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And I use the parks for walking around Milpitas safely.
That's good. That's great to hear. We're happy to hear that you guys are using the facilities.
That's great. Oh. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, Dale, you got a public comment?
Oh.
I don't see it. Pam, do you see it?
I think it is important that, when you have a general master plan update, there has to be a component for the veterans to be included. The general master plan does include not many aspects. However, when we put any general master plan update for the Milpitas Metro Plan, it is important to put the aspect for the seniors and as well as for the veterans. The veterans, the services, as well as the aspect that is considered in the general master plan, that is holistically for the civil society only. But when we speak about the veterans, we also have to ensure that there is a component that includes the specific services for the veterans as well. So the veterans are the civil as well. They're part of a civil society, but there has to be a separate component for the veterans as well, and as well as for the people for the uniformed services. The aspect like having a taxation services, having a tax benefits, having spouse education services, having a veterans healthcare services, to be provided within the Milpitas Metro Plan. Those components are also very important. Also, on a part of a veterans, still, if veterans requires any medical or health services, they have to travel all the way to the Palo Alto to get those services, because that's where the veterans facilities are located. It is important that the veterans facilities are be developed within the city of Milpitas as a part of a Milpitas Metro Plan as well, including the recreational services, that is being provided for the veterans. Also to consider that, how veterans, would be able to access, those services from a technology perspective. That is also important. To educate them on those services, that is also important. Providing the different services at all levels, at education, health, that would help Milpitas Metro Plan enable the services for the veterans. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I believe that was the last public comments, so we can move forward then.
Okay. Thank you. So do we go to the next step, or is there?
Yes, it was just to receive the report.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Next one is Adopt a Vet program, the background. As per the Veterans Commission work plan, Adopt a Vet is a standing item. The concept of the Adopt a Vet program was brought up by past Commissioner Danny Weisgerber and voted on by the Veterans Commission to move forward. The concept of the program was for veterans to make contact with Milpitas elementary schools, and the veterans would visit classrooms throughout the school year to share stories, read to the classes, and bring opportunities for the younger generation to understand what a veteran is. Staff is asking the commission to work on this item to be able to do this during the current state of the pandemic and see if we still want to move forward with this item. Recommendation is to discuss this item and see if the Veterans Commission wants to move forward. And if they do, devise a plan on how to do it during the current pandemic and after. So I guess I'm wondering first what comments people might have. What are they thinking?
Well, Chair Ramos, this is Art Ebright. I think it's a good program. I know it was a program near and dear to Denny. And I think it's something, though, that we have to kind of put on hold right now because we can't even talk to kids face to face. They're not even in school. So I think we have to wait until that situation resolves itself before we can get that involved in it. But I think it's a viable program. We would have to, it would be good. One thing we could do is find out who is available or who would like to get involved in that program, which entails visiting a particular school and talking to a particular class. I think Denny was involved with a third grade class at the school he went to, and we need to find out who would be willing to do something like that. And once we get names of potential volunteers, take it to the head of the school system, school superintendent, I guess, and then get their okay to continue that program, and then go from there. And when you're into school, you could give them a short talk on different things, but mainly answer questions that they have, and I guess that's about it.
Okay, thank you. And I thought at one point we had gotten volunteers. I know I volunteered. Somebody
Well, I
else
volunteered also,
Okay,
but we never got into it because of everything that happened.
right.
I mean, I had an accident over a year ago that required a hip replacement, and then we ran into the pandemic, and then our mentor Denny died.
I know.
So
Okay.
we're kind of left with this pandemic thing, and it still affects us all. And I don't see how we could actually effectively talk to kids virtually, from the second or third grade or something like that. I think we have to wait until school's open and we can get an okay to go in and address them. So until that time happens, I think we kind of have to put this program on hold.
Chair, you guys can do whatever you need to. I think you can still do it if you want to by reaching out to the schools and doing it through, as we're doing right now, for Zoom.
Right.
All classes have the access to be doing Zoom meetings. It's however you guys want to handle it. If you guys want to hold off and do it, absolutely. But I think the more we put it off, and if we let it go away too far, it'll get lost and not come back.
Okay.
I mean, and we could even just start, or the commission can start by just checking with the school district to see if they're even still interested. And then if they're not, then we can move forward from that point too.
Okay. I'm willing to go to the school district. I'm wondering if anybody else would want that, or Bill or Darrell, did you want to volunteer for talking to the schools?
I'll volunteer.
Yeah, you'll volunteer. Okay. Well, maybe this month I can, I'll reach out to the superintendent and find out, and then bring it back to the commission and see what we want, how we want to move forward. Would that work for everybody? Or I guess another question is, would you be comfortable in doing Zoom? That's a question for the rest of the commissioners.
Zoom's fine with me, but I don't know how well I'll be doing with Zoom compared to in person.
Oh, yeah,
Which
no,
I don't have
totally.
the feedback as much with the kids with a lot of screens. There's a lot of feedback on hands, what they're doing, if they're moving around, if they're paying attention. And it's easier when you're in person compared to see a screen with 30 kids or 15 kids.
And I can, maybe when I reach out to the school district, I can find it. Usually, I'm hoping the teacher's still there to control them. And
If
and
you're going to see the school district in person, you like me to come along, that's fine too.
okay, thank you. Art, are you okay if we reach out? Would you be comfortable with Zoom? Because I know you're just as passionate about this program as.
Oh,
as
sure.
anyone. Okay. Then I'll do a feel and then come back and reach out. Okay, thank you.
You have my phone number?
I'm gonna get those from Dale for everybody. Yes.
Okay.
Definitely. Thank you.
And we have to get together with Dale with our new duties.
Yes, exactly. And Art. Okay.
And
And I guess the next question is liaison reports, City Council.
Thank you so much, Chair Ramos. I have some encouraging updates from the City Council. Actually, from yesterday, our City Council, at the encouragement of myself, we redid the City Commission bylaws. And one of the key notes of changing our bylaws here in the city was to go back to the way things were when they were working with no lifetime term limits for city commissioners. As some or many of you can recall, not too long ago, maybe about 2-3 years ago, our city council decided to put lifetime term limits for city commissioners, meaning folks were getting termed out from all the commissions. And so that was, I will say, a mistake looking back in hindsight. And so just yesterday, at my request, the city council kind of returned the bylaws back to its original policy, which is, we love our city commissioners so much, we want you to serve for as long as you want. So this kind of news applies to everybody on this commission. There will be no term limits for city commissioners no more. And as long as I call Milpitas home, which has been all my life, I will always ensure that we will have our city commissioners serving our city as long as they desire. That's all I have to report, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. That's great news, Mayor. Thank you.
And for staff reports, I have nothing to say, just on that, I have all of you here together. I can actually say Happy New Year to all of you. I haven't seen you since December. We are still in challenging times. We will make everything work to the best that we can, and we will still make everything that we do noticeable out in the public for the community to see, whether it's through the commission, whether it's through one of our departments. It's all of us that support the city of Milpitas, and we will show our support through everything that we do for them.
Thank you. And thanks for everything that you guys do.
our next meeting's going to be in April.
Yes.
Yes, but before we close, I wanted, well, first, congratulations to Vice Chair Devereaux. And
Likewise for you.
thanks. And then I just wanted to say a big thank you to Commissioner Ebright. You've done a fantastic job,
Awesome.
and we've got big shoes to fill. So thank you so much for everything. And sorry to hear that you're retiring, but kind of
I'm not
understand
going
why you
away,
thought
but
that. Yeah, I know, but
All right. I'd like to have your shoes.
So thank you. And Happy New Year, everyone, and thank you.
Thank you.
And I guess let me see. That's right. The exact date was April 7th. Okay, perfect. And with that, I guess we can adjourn.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Right.